Welcome, everyone. This is episode 25 of the Snapcast podcast. 25 with your hosts, Brade O'Brien and Miguel Acule. What's up?
Cooley. What's going on, dude?
No, not much, man. We got an awesome episode for you guys today. We're going to be looking at some new spoilers from M21, and wow, what a set.
There are some busted cards in here, and not just the reprints.
No, not at all, man.
Some of these new cards are fantastic.
Absolutely. So we're going to dive into that and just kind of go down through, talk about those, and, you're going to be going on this journey with us, because I haven't seen all of the spoilers yet, and I'm sure Brad hasn't read every single one of them. Maybe he has. But they keep popping up by the minute.
I've specifically actually chosen not to, but I'm just thinking we should probably record our screen for these fine folks so that we can share it with them later.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do things a little differently today. We're going to basically just show you kind of what we're looking at as we do it. And that way you'll be able to follow along if you're watching on YouTube. But we promise we will still explain it in great detail, and you'll definitely be able to hear our over-the-top reactions when we find cards that really blow our minds if you're listening on the audio cast. So, yeah. What site are we looking at here for these spoilers?
So we have brought up mythicspoiler.com. It's the gold standard aggregator for all of the previews and spoilers. Not just for Magic, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just Magic.
Oh, yeah.
They've got great sorting features. So we're looking now at the Core 21 cards, and we are looking at the newest spoilers option. We'll refresh it just in case anything else has come up. So as of June 11th, Core 2021 spoilers.
Enthralling Hold. Enchanted creature. You can't choose an untapped creature as this spell's target as you cast it. You control enchanted creature. Trash. Trash. Why did we start with that one?
Because, you got to set a low bar. Well, we're going to jump right from a low bar to a high bar.
Oh, man. So one card that was released today this is just amazing. So it's called Miscast. And, I think Brad put it perfectly before we started recording here. He thinks Dispel might have been dispelled permanently.
Like this such a terrible joke. Well, we were talking about Spell Pierce and Dispel, and my Miscast is not as good as Spell Pierce, but there's no reason to play Dispel anymore when you can play that spell. You wouldn't play Dispel if you can play that spell. Miscast.
Counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3 mana for 1 blue. That's it. I mean, that's almost, if you ask me, that is almost mental misstep worthy nasty. Almost. It's not quite, it's not as broken as the Phyrexian mana, but geez, man, I think we're going to see that in a lot of formats.
Yeah, I can see this going into Pioneer.
Oh,
certainly as a sideboard card.
I think this is going to be Vintage, man. Like this, people will use this in Vintage. This is insane. It's so efficient.
Blue is so easy to make.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Like I guess in Vintage you have Flusterstorm or whatnot. So I suppose there might be an argument for not to be in Vintage, but I just think this is so powerful, man. Like
this is forces and.
Well, forces are interesting because you're kind of giving up the card advantage, which it never used to matter back in the day. Like, it did when Force was first printed because formats weren't as broken. So if you were giving up 2 cards to counter your opponent's spell, a lot of times you did feel the effects of that card disadvantage. There was a dark time in Magic, I think, where you kind of had to do it. Like, you had to have the Force of Will in Vintage or Legacy or whatnot. And some decks are still like that. But at the same time, I think that you'll see a lot more decks these days sub them out. Like, that's one of the first cards in Legacy. A lot of people sub out against fair decks or against, decks that aren't going to just abuse them turn 1 or 2. And it's all because of this power creep, man. Like, you now have all of these cards that are at your disposal that you can actually fight back, in a meaningful way against these decks without having to, jam a Delver of Secrets and counter everything they do and hope they don't get rid of it. You know what I mean? It's like there's a lot more powerful cards out there now.
I know. Now they can play the little blue-red dragon.
Yeah, man. He actually does make some legacy decks, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen him play in Modern. That was from the last set. But let's keep going on here because there are so many.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now here's something funny. Obviously, a huge theme in this set. Cats and dogs working together.
That's so crazy, man. I'm
This
so
one,
pumped.
I know. Like, thinking about how much you love your cat's deck.
Nikki's Cats deck.
Sorry. Nikki's. Nikki's. That's my girlfriend's. Don't tell anybody.
Decked out with Savannah and fetch lands and
And you love to play it. Don't even front.
it's so good.
How would you like to add Feline Sovereign? 2 and a green for a 2/3 cat. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have protection from dogs.
This card's awesome.
That's not the only line of text.
I know.
This card was printed after 2018 and has 7 lines of text.
Busted text.
The next 4 lines of text read, whenever one or more cats you control deal combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment that player controls.
Turns all your things into Trigon Predators. Like, just about.
Now, check out the flavor text.
Dogs beg, cats lay claim.
Nature's claim.
Oh,
Cats lay claim,
well
and
done.
when your cats deal combat damage, they destroy an artifact or enchantment.
That is flavorful, Wizards. Nice job. Well played there. Yep. That's really good. No, this cat is just so insane, man. The cat's deck before was just kind of filled with a bunch of dumb chumps, like turn 1 idiots is what I used to call them, like 2/1 for 1 or 1/1 for 1 with an ability, and you're just trying to pump it with a Rabo. It really lacked a lot of that late game, nut that it needed. But with the recent companion printings of, the Kahira. Yep. Kahira and this new cat right here.
And the other new cats that we'll get to.
Yeah, they're just so good now. Like the cat decks are growing, and the fact that this whole set is based on dogs and cats here is so sick. I can't see what else is going to come out.
Man, I don't know how it'll come up. But have you looked at the cats and taxes?
No.
Okay, we're going to take an aside here.
Yep.
So, with some of the other cards that, including Kahira, we have over at MTG Goldfish a modern cats and taxes deck.
I did see something about this pop up on my YouTube, but
using a Boreal Grazer, just because ramp and block. Leonin Arbiter, Qasali Pride Mage,
Bramaz, King of the West Coast.
Straight up King of the Pride. Other cats you control get +2/+1. Pride Sovereign, other cats, or it gets bigger for other cats. Regal Caracal.
That's your high end stuff.
That's your high end stuff. It's an Aether Vial, Thorn of Amethyst deck.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
super
cool.
Fun. Playing 4-path, 3 Mana Tithe, and 2 Collected Company.
Mana Tithe is really interesting.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to keep them off that wrath.
Wow. That is so cool. And you're always, Mana Tithe is really interesting in this deck because it's a purposeful 3 of by the looks because they want to see our Boreal Grazer more than they want to see Mana Tithe. And that's important because you're always going to be ahead on the mana curve. So you can cast your 3 drops and
have a mana up.
And have a mana up, or even your 2 drops and have a mana up.
Yep.
That's a really interesting build right there. I like that a lot. Collected Company, of course. But with only 22 creatures, that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and it's only 2 Collected Companies.
That's true. That's very true.
So there are definitely concessions made. I mean, this list was posted by Rosie54. I don't know. This is not a tournament list. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Well, here's their article. I didn't even look at the article. I went to some crazy. So here's Cats and Taxes version 2 by Saffron Olive.
Now, this is all post June 1. So they have companions and...
Oh, yeah. This is
And this was when you could just
play it from the sideboard.
Just play it from the sideboard, right? And
yeah,
so now
this was pre-companion change.
Right.
So I'm not saying that this deck is playable, but what I'm saying is there are enough powerful cats that you're really getting close to a real modern deck.
Oh yeah.
So this is more aggressive. Loam Lions, Arbiter, Pride Mage, Brahmas, King of the Pride Still, Pride Sovereign, Regal Caracal.
Yeah, Regal Caracal is so sick, man.
This is full on 4 Mana Tithe, 4 Path to Exile. So they replaced Loam Lion with the Sloth in the other deck. I don't get it.
Oh, the Arboreal Grazer.
Yeah. I kind of do think you want to get to 3 drops. Like you want to do that. So
yeah.
I get that. If you can play Bird Maz on 2.
Oh my God, get out of town.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even King of the Pride on 2 is just really good.
Yeah.
You know, granted, it's kind of a weak creature for its mana cost, I think, but you're running 4 of them. So, I mean, they can get out of control pretty quickly. They're a huge lord, basically. Yep. You know, the +2 really makes up for that 3 mana that you're paying. But, yeah.
Oh, and then a little bit of hate, all the hate in the sideboard. 3 choke, 2 Winds of Abandon, Thorn of Amethyst here on the side, Stony Silence, Rest in Peace, Damping Sphere, Grafdigger's Cage.
Choke is so good right now.
Against these, except for that damn snow permanent.
Astrolabe.
Yeah, yep. Friggin' Astroglide, because they give it to you every time. When you're like, okay, I'm going to choke you out, and they're like, okay, well, I can still make blue.
I think you meant you need your Astro Lube for the Astroglide.
Astro Lube for the Astral Slide?
That's right.
We are just cycling here, don't mind us.
Yep.
Let's jump back over to the worst demon that I've seen this year.
All right, so it's written in a foreign language on this site. What does this say?
Wait, so this is generic demon. What do you think it says?
I think it has flying.
Okay.
I think it costs you some amount of life for something.
Okay.
And it's a 5/5 for 6 mana, so it probably does something busted in this new meta. It's an uncommon too.
It's an uncommon 5/5 for 6.
I'm gonna say when it comes into play, target opponent sacrifices a creature.
But what if I told you that each opponent had to sacrifice a creature?
Did I nail it? Did I almost nail it?
You almost nailed it. But wait. So this is a 5/5 Flampler.
Flampler.
Flying and trample.
Flampler. Flying trample is an additional cost, sacrifice a creature, and then each opponent sacrifices a creature. Not bad.
Not bad at all, right?
Yeah. For an uncommon, I mean,
if
that's
you
a
blink
trap
it,
bomb.
They just sacrifice creatures.
Oh, wow. Wow. Or if you reanimate it, they just that's big.
Now, there was, and I wanted to point this out, Demon of Catastrophes. This was a 6/6 Flample for 4 that you've never friggin' heard of. Because nobody's ever played this card, and it only came out last year.
What? I've never heard of this, yeah. Demon of Catastrophes. It's a 6/6 Flampler for 4 with the same drawback. When you cast it, sack a dude. So that seems way better than that other guy.
I mean, you can certainly get it out earlier.
Yeah, that seems way better, man.
But yet nobody's ever heard of it.
Right.
So
weird.
So I don't know that Goremand? Goremand. I don't think this is going to see play.
Nah, man. I think that's why they printed it at uncommon. If this was back in the days of like unlimited beta, this would be like this would definitely be a rare. But nope, not powerful enough.
Moving on. Oh man, another card that I'm kind of excited about. Shame it's a Centaur.
What?
Conclave Mentor. 1 green for a 2/2. So we have a bear. We have a gold bear in green and white.
Wow.
That is a creature Centaur cleric. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, put that many +1/+1/+1 counter are put on that creature instead. When it dies, you gain life equal to its power.
So it's a Winding Constrictor, but with a white mana instead of a black, and it does something when those creatures die.
When it dies.
Wow. When it dies. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Wow.
So if you're putting counters on your whole board and he happens to get bigger.
Wow.
You know, and we have spells in standard right now that are like put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures.
Wow.
So
he's going to make the scales decks in Pioneer. That's for sure. I think we might even see a different version of scales with this guy in it. Like
I'm into it.
That's cool.
A human that nobody will ever play. I mean, it is interesting. I love when you see this. 2 cards just sort of put together, and then right next to it, Tempered Veteran.
Right.
1/2 Human Knight. 1 white tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature with a +1/+1 counter on it.
Interesting.
Blech.
Wow.
6 mana, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Come on.
Wow.
That's pretty pricey, man.
Yeah, I do like its first ability though. It seems like it's depending on how the rest of the set pans out, that could be really good in like limited or draft or whatnot. I can see some potential from that uncommon.
Now here's one that comes in with some +1/+1 counters.
Ooh. Truffle Snout.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. What's Truffle Snout, Mike?
Yeah, I'm trolling Brad here, but so there's a card right next to the one he's probably talking about, but this is actually not bad either. A 2/2 for 3 mana. It's a common, so you can like pretty easily draft this. And when it comes into the battlefield, choose one. Either it becomes a vanilla creature because you put a +1/+1 counter on it, or gain 4 life.
So you can have a 3/3 for 3, or a 2/2 for 3 and gain 4 life.
So if you're drafting and you're like ahead, you can just make it come in as a 3/3 vanilla creature. If you're behind, dude, you can get a chump and gain 4 life. That's pretty good. Pretty good for a common.
You know what's cooler than that? This uncommon Hydra that I was actually alluding to. Wildwood Scourge. It's a Hydra. You know it's going to be X in its mana cost. You know there's going to be green in its mana cost. Its mana cost is X and a green.
Well, Hydras are big right now, man. They're pandering to the public right here.
Don't I love me some Unbound Flourishing?
Yep.
So, it enters with X +1/+1 counters. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on another non-Hydra creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Interesting. So it's a Ivy Elemental that has an extra ability. That's cool. That's really cool.
Neat. I mean, cool stuff in this set.
Yeah. Ivy Elemental was a rare at one point. Now it's a common.
Now, here's a card that's being talked about a little bit online.
What?
1 black mana.
Wow. So
Get you a 1/1.
I've only seen a couple of words here, but I love it. It's called Thieves Guild Enforcer. And 1/1 for 1 black mana, human rogue, and it has flash. I love it already. When this guy or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. What? Sweet.
Do you think that's a guy?
Hard telling, not knowing, man. I know it's dead. That's for sure. Got bone popping out of its arm. Either way, as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, this guy is a 3/2, basically. What?
A 3/2 with Death Touch.
What? Death Touch too?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is...
It gets Death Touch under that condition of 8 or more cards in an opponent's graveyard.
This is so cool. So mill decks are going to be a thing, man. They're really pandering to it. I mean, of course, mill, as part of a news flash here, is now a key word. If you didn't know that, we weren't just like abridging what that said. It literally says each opponent mills 2 cards. Like they are making mill.
Like, don't you know what that means?
Right. They're making it a key word now, man. That's really cool.
Sabertooth Mauler. Meh. 4 mana cat. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died. Okay, so it's not one of yours, just a creature.
Mm-hmm. Junk.
Put a +1/+1 counter on it and untap it.
Junk.
Listen here, drafter. You're going to draft this card and like it.
I might draft it. Yeah, that's for sure. What is this guy? Another foreign language that I can't read.
Yeah. Yes, they do preview cards in other countries.
Tap target creature. No, I'm not talking about this one though. I'm talking about the one
spider?
That the one that was next to it, the green one.
Well, you don't want to talk about the Celestial Executioner? I don't either.
It's
we're moving on.
It's a worse master decoy.
Spore Silk Weaver, 2 and a green for a creature spider.
What?
Of course it has reach. Of course it has hexproof from Teferi. I mean, hexproof from blue.
Dude, wow. This is a control decks friend right here. Like, this is exactly what you want to be doing. So, Spore Silkweaver, 3 mana, 1 green, 2 colorless, reach and hexproof from blue, right?
I think I said that.
You probably did. But, dude, that's insane what it does.
No, what's insane is the next line.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
This is, you see, I was trying to build them back up and walk them through my thought process as I'm reading this. Like, it was good enough.
Just right there. That's good enough for a 3 mana creature. It's a 3 mana 1/4 reach hexproof from blue.
That was good enough. But then get this. Whenever this guy is dealt damage, gain 1 life and create a 1/1 green sapperling creature token. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's so good, man. That's so good.
I'm just going to chump block the aggro deck all day and make more chump blockers and gain life.
That's so nuts. Like, as if this guy wasn't playing good enough defense in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that you gain a life and create a dude, if they even think about swinging in, it just makes future attacks even worse. It's so bad, dude. That's so nuts.
So the last thing so far on June 11th.
Oh, this one's got a special border right here. It's got to mean it's good.
Oh, it's a legendary creature.
Yep.
It has a comma in its name.
Exactly. We've been over this.
Subira
Tulzidi Caravaner. Interesting. It sounds
Caravaneer?
Caravan ear.
They've got their ear to the caravan.
That's right. So 3 mana, 2/3, 1 red, 2 colorless.
Legendary creature.
Legendary human shaman. She's got haste and pay 1. Another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. That's kind of cool. And then 1 red, 1 colorless, tap it, discard your hand. Powerful. I don't even care what it does. It's a discard your hand outlet right there. That's cool. Until end of turn, whenever a creature you control with power 2 or less deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Wow, man.
Well, there.
And it's a discard your hand outlet. That's, you always got to think of stuff like that. Like, whenever, it might seem like it's a drawback, like, oh, I have to discard my hand. How many times have we seen it in Magic where, like, these ridiculous drawbacks end up actually being good? You know what I mean? In the right builds or in the right circumstances, like Lion's Eye Diamond. There was a time in Magic history where people were like, yeah, that's junk. It wants to be Black Lotus, but it's just not cool. And then Legacy Dredge came out and it was like, yeah, so by the way, Lion's Eye Diamond, crack that. And then I'm going to flash back my Faithless Looting and, with the mana I get off of this, and then dredge 2 Golgari Grave Trolls, and, like, you're dead before you even take a turn.
You're getting a little bit, you're starting to lift up the keyboard tray with the excitement.
That's what dude, I'm telling you, that card could be big. It could be big. I don't know in what yet.
You are swelling with excitement.
But it could be big.
You know what else could be big? A downshifted reprint.
What? This is an uncommon now?
Vern Wingmare is now uncommon. 2/1 flyer for 3. Non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, you are not, but it'll make for interesting standard options.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another card that does that for Commander, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's another... Tax. It's another tax. No one was really using this in, like, Modern or any of the other taxes decks that I've seen consistently anyway. But
sometimes I think in older formats, in Death and Taxes, they would run this every once in a while as a 5th.
Yep.
But not often.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's 3 mana, so they have to tick their vials up to some uncomfortable number, too. Like, even in Legacy, there's that debate of, do I keep it at 2 or go to 3? You know what I mean? It's odd.
I can tell you, most of the time, even in Modern, here's my little tip for anybody. Keep your vial at 2 90% of the time.
You can always go up, but you can never go back down.
Not in Modern, not yet.
Dude, what? Okay, so this is just great. I think they released these in non-English languages just to build up my excitement, man. I see this card, its mana cost and its power and toughness, and its rarity, and I just know.
4/3 for 3? Ooh, hexproof from black.
Yep.
1 green gets you a creature beast. Garruk's Herald. And the art shows, it looks like Garruk riding on the back of this thing. Whenever Garruk's Herald deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, look at the same number of cards from the top of your library. So I guess if you pump this, you can look through. It's based on damage. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You may reveal a creature or Garruk planeswalker from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. This is interesting. We know that we are getting, or like there's a Garruk in this set, and Jumpstart is also going to have a Garruk. I don't know if it's going to it's probably going to be a reprint.
Yeah.
I don't know, being able to look at that many cards and putting one in your hand. I mean, that's always valuable, right?
Yeah. I mean,
it's player or planeswalker, so
it's a 4/3 for 3 mana that has hexproof from black. That's really good in and of itself. I mean, there are other cards like Chameleon Colossus, for example, that's, a 4/4 for 4, and it's all creature types, but that protection from black actually makes it viable in the sideboard of a lot of builds. In Modern, even I've seen it in Legacy before too. So that's big right there. That's like a Chameleon Colossus against certain decks, and it's not quite as good with the ability, but it's less mana. You know what I mean? Like, and if you hit them, you get to impulse off the top of your deck and grab a creature, which is pretty solid. I think Chameleon Colossus has protection from black, which makes it infinitely better. I think.
Yeah, you're always going to hit.
Yeah, it's always getting through. It's a bit more evasive, and that's the only thing with that creature is it's not very evasive. It is like a big Tarmogoyf style hitter for a very low mana cost, but it's not really getting through.
Yeah, but I'm sure we're going to come across the 2 mana 3/2s that can eat this thing.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So we'll look at Garruk the Unchained, 4 mana, 2 green. Planeswalker comes in with 4 loyalty. All right, Mike, is this your first time seeing this card?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Read through the abilities and tell me what you think, and think about our rules about Planeswalkers.
All right, cool. So 4 mana, comes in with 4 loyalty, as Brad said, and +1. Up to 1 target creature gains +3/+3 and trample till end of turn. So a souped up giant growth for +1. Not bad. Not bad at all. Especially if you follow up that last creature we were talking about, turn 3, and then turn 4, Garruk, get out of town.
Oh, swing for 7, get the best card out of your top 7.
Oh, God, man, that's nuts. -2, create a 3/3 beast creature token. Then, if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on this guy. What? Not bad. And then his ultimate. Are you ready? This is my first time reading it. -7. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That's cool. Unfortunately, that's never going off. 7. You gotta have that out for 4 turns, basically.
Yep.
That's never going off. But still, that's sick. If it does, game's over. Can you imagine popping that off in Commander, dude?
Yeah. I mean, and if you like, I was looking at some of the things that we've seen so far, and just thinking about, like with that Reach spider, the spider that makes sapperlings and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't make sapperlings, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. It doesn't make other spiders.
Nope, makes sapperlings.
I'm like, no, I'm thinking, is that right?
Yeah, it's definitely right, dude.
Yeah,
100%.
That's so strange.
Yep.
There's sort of a controlling deck. So if you can get a Garruk out, maybe you can buy 4 turns in a black-green like a rock deck in Standard.
Yeah.
And then you have one or 2 haymakers.
Right.
Like the 8 mana stupid thing that you would never plan on casting.
And we're still going to have access to all the cards that are currently in Standard when this set drops, right? Yeah. So I guess there's still going to be Assassin's Trophy or whatnot, but that's going to rotate out in the next couple of sets or so. And
yeah, that rotates out in September, I think.
Yeah. So is there really a lot of ways to deal with this card? Like,
they got to attack it.
Yeah, you got to, I guess, yeah, you can attack it. But gosh, dude, like, I don't think there's any real efficient removal for it. So that's sweet. There's a lot of, it's what we've seen so far is there's a lot of good turn 3 green drops.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's this, following those up with this right here seems really good.
Yep.
That's insane.
We got a couple of doggos on this page.
Yeah.
I see. Oh, one thing that is cool is Did you know that Wizards is errating any instance of hound to dog?
Really?
Yep.
Good. So
there will be more dogs to play with the Dog Matter tribal cards.
No kidding. So the Ismaru or whatever his name is, the 2/2 dog
Ismaru,
for 1.
The legendary 1-drop 2/1.
He's now a doggo. That's cool, man. That is sweet.
But other than that, I don't feel the need to talk about Rambunctious Mutt or Alpine Watchdog.
Alpine Watchdog is so pretty, though. Look at that picture.
He's the best boy.
He is the best boy. Look at that. Cutie.
When you scratch his belly.
I would. Look at him. Look at him.
He's no igneous cur.
No.
That looks like an angry mutt.
Yep. Jesus, man.
Just fire breathing.
Looks a lot scarier than it really is.
Yep.
So what is this? Fiery Emancipation. If it's so,
yeah.
4/6
mana, you better get a huge effect off of your enchantment in standard.
What? So this is a Furnace of Wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Except it's not to all players; it's to all your opponents. What?
Well, if a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player.
I didn't read a very crucial key word there. I just assumed. I thought this was gonna say, like, you ever been in those patterns before where you start reading your card and you're like, oh yeah, I know what this says. Yeah, I know what this is gonna say. I read the word. I thought it was gonna say, yeah, deals double damage to that creature or permanent instead. It's triple damage.
Oh yeah, it's not double.
Triple.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's sick.
How would you like to play this out? 3 turns after your. Oh, what's that stupid enchantment you play? Cavalcade.
Oh, yeah.
I have a couple of 1/1s and 3 Cavalcade triggers, and you're getting hit for 9.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you just drop Torbrand out and then this, no matter what you hit them with, they're just dead. Like, yep, Bolt or Shock.
What, 15 off a Bolt?
12 off a Shock? Stupid. Stupid.
Yeah, if for those that know us and are from the local area, there's a player in our shop that loves to play with red decks like this, and I just called this a love song to Jonathan Stover.
This has his name written all over it, man.
Triple damage.
If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, so that could even be your permanent. You could do like a stuffy doll. Oh my God, man! So you blasphemous act. So you blasphemous act your stuffy doll, and everybody dies in Commander. There you go.
Dies.
That's it.
I don't even care if you've gained a bunch of life.
Yep, TKO. That's it. Wow. Hanging up, dude. That's
Fiery Emancipation. Sounds like fun. Hey, look, we got a stupid big dragon. Hellfire Punisher.
That's not cool enough to be a rare, man. Show me some rares. No. What do we got?
I kind of like this guy. I wish he would do damage to any target, but that's probably too powerful.
No, dude, no way. They had what was the goblin that basically did the same thing as the Hellfire Immolator? There was a Goblin Brigade or something. Goblin Fire. I don't know.
You're my goblin expert. I would ask you.
It was so I play a Goblin Grenzo, the commander, and I still don't run this guy, and he does the same thing, but he does it to any target. And it's a 2/2 for 2 mana, Goblin, pay 1 colorless, sack it, and he deals 2 damage to any target.
No,
junk.
But so this has prowess and deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. So if you threw a bunch of spells, burn spells at your opponent's face, and then took their planeswalker off the board. I don't know.
It seems to rely on
if it did it to any target, I would be all about this card. I would be calling this card a future staple.
Yep.
But because you can only target creatures or planeswalkers with its sack ability, I'm moving on.
Yeah. Goblin Arsonist reprint. That's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Transmography. Exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card.
Put it on the battlefield.
What?
Yep. Polymorph.
Yeah, they just reprinted Polymorph in a different color. You're going to give red Polymorph?
Yeah, I mean, they've got it. What's the Indomitable Creativity's another red Polymorph type effect. But
so this
and read the flavor text. Again, WotC is on it.
I'd like to introduce you to the new and improved me.
I'd like to introduce you to the new and improved polymorph.
That is so cool. Transmography. Transmogrify. That's what it is. Huh. That is very cool. I think that has a lot of potential, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like reminiscent of Luca's ability in Standard right now, but far better. Like, Luca looks for a creature with a higher converted mana cost. This is just like the next one you get.
Right.
Jam it.
So you're running this probably in a deck with no creature permanents, just spells that make creatures, lands that make creatures.
Right.
And you want to just cast this on a stupid soldier token and put Emrakul into play.
Wow. That's so cool.
2, 3 for 4. This card draw Frantic Inventory. Nobody's going to play it.
What? Frantic Inventory? That's like what's the other one? Frantic Research or something, which is it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, you draw equal to the number of cards with that name in your graveyard.
That's kind of cool. That was actually played a lot. I think if it's the card that I'm thinking of does exactly the same thing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I think it was Frantic Research. But either way, it said you draw a card and then draw a card for each Frantic Research in all graveyards. That was huge in Standard.
I don't know. Like the first one gets you a card. Mm-hmm. So you're breaking even at 2 mana.
Yep.
The next one draws you 2 cards for 2 mana.
I remember when this card's counterpart, the card that was this, beforehand, was in Standard. You had control matchups were the weirdest thing to watch because they were both running the card. And they would play off of their opponent and be like, I'm not going to cast this until my opponent casts theirs. You know what I mean? And then when they did, it was just like bam, 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 bam. Like all of them were drawing so many cards. It was so crazy.
We got a 3/3 for 2.
And it's a common?
And it's a dinosaur with Defender.
Not bad.
Except.
Not bad. This creature can attack as though it didn't have Defender if you control a creature with power 4 or greater.
And that is a sub-theme in this set. There are a lot of cards that reference having a creature with power 4 or greater.
Well, how about this, dude? You can jam this guy on 2 and then slam a Kahira right behind it and then swing with that creature because it turns itself into a 4/4.
Yeah.
Yep. So, wow, dude. That's really cool.
And you're talking my language where maybe Kahira is just good enough main deck.
Yeah.
You don't need it as a companion. You can put it right in the 60.
Well, with how it's designed, you could do both. You could have it main deck and in the sideboard.
So, I'm gonna let you talk about this card.
Oh yeah, you guys have probably heard about this one by now, but the Conspicuous Snoop or Conspicuous Snoop.
Nice.
Yeah, that's this card's sick, man. Obviously, you've probably heard about the combo with this and Kiki Jiki that people are speculating on. Jim Davis did a really good breakdown of the actual Goblin deck combo that this could be a part of. It's really cool. But even if you put that aside, right? Everybody knows about that combo. That's really cool. Infinite instant win, right? It's just really cool. It's just really good in and of itself, man. Like 2/2 for 2. There you go. Good enough. And
good enough.
And then you've got play with the top guy. This basically is
that'll do, donkey. That'll do.
That'll do. And we haven't committed too much for too little already. But
wait, there's more. How many lines of text does this have?
Dude, it's got a lot, man. So it has
7 lines. Okay, 7 lines of text, 3 separate phrases.
Right, 3 separate abilities. And so the first one, the first 2 kind of make it like a experimental frenzy. Like this kind of has an experimental frenzy feel. Like
Frenzy for goblins.
Yep. You play with the top card of your library revealed. If it's a goblin, you can, or it just says you can cast goblins from the top of your library.
Goblin spells.
Yeah.
So you can also cast
Tarfire.
Tribal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tarfire stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Or Goblin
so
tribal
gross.
sorceries instance. Yeah. Stupid, dude.
But wait, there's more.
Oh, yeah. And as long as the top card of your library is a goblin card, Conspicuous Snoop has all activated abilities of that card. So that's where the combination with Kiki Jiki comes into play. Mm-hmm. This can basically make... we should actually look up Kiki Jiki real quick because I'm wondering specifically how it's phrased. Just because you could... if it's phrased in the way that I think it is, where it says at the beginning of the next end step you exile them, I'm very sure that's what it says. Well, I shouldn't say very, but I'm pretty sure that's what it says. You could literally slam this creature inconspicuously on turn 2 and just win. Like, you could win on your next turn. You just be like, yep, okay, that's cool. I'm just gonna make infinite dudes on your end step.
Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step.
Beginning of the next end step. So on their end step, yep, there you go. You just use this guy to make tons of copies of himself, and then you get them on your turn, and then can swing with them. So
the other goblin that's just going absolutely out of control right now. I'm sure if I look at it on the MTG Goldfish Movers and Shakers for Modern, Bogart Harbinger. 2 and a black from Lorwyn. Goblin Shaman. When it comes into play, search your library for a goblin card, reveal it, and put it on top of your library.
what's the price of this card right now?
It has spiked.
Wow, yep.
$10.
Yeah, so this was a Lorwyn uncommon, and it went from like worthless to $12 now.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Because this lets you go find exactly the goblin you want and put it on top of your deck.
Right. So you keep making copies with, we'll give the quick recap of the combo. With this Bogart Harbinger, you can do your Kiki-Jiki thing like we just talked about.
Yep.
But you can do it on your turn, and then you can use Bogart Harbinger. You can, copy that with your last activation of Kiki-Jiki. You copy the Harbinger and go get like Sling Gang Lieutenant. And that makes it so that you can sacrifice a goblin and activated ability. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that just allows you to take all of these infinite tokens you just made and instantly sack them. And that's insane, man. Really good.
So I think you're right. I think this card is going to be a value engine, even if the combo is not great. But
yeah, that card is so good, man. That's one of the best goblins ever printed.
Earlier I said that Fire Emancipation was a love song to Stover.
Yep.
I also this week joked that Wizards released these 2 cards here, which I'm just going to point them out to people that are looking at the video. One is riddle form and one is in German. I'm going to read the translation here in a second. But they were both previewed on the same day, and I swore that those 2 being previewed on the same day was not an accident.
Okay, what is this? You've piqued my interest.
Okay, so we're going to look at Lofty Denial. It's a 1 and a blue counterspell. It's an instant, obviously. That's the only way counterspells really work. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. If you control a creature with flying, counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. So target spell.
Wow. So then your riddle form turns into a 3/3 flyer, right?
Correct. Yep. So riddle form says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may have this become a 3/3 Sphinx creature with flying.
Wow.
So you have this out on 2, and you just counter spells for unless they can pay 4.
Wow.
And you're animating a blocker possibly.
That's cool. That's a cool little interaction they got right there. That's going to surprise some people in Standard. What's this? Okay, so there's another foreign language card right next to that, and it's I see a whole bunch of mana symbols and numbers in it, and it looks cool. Is this really as cool as it looks?
That's one pissed off Leafkin.
Wow. So Vengeful Leafkin, he's pissed, and he's an elemental druid. He's 4 mana, 1 green, 1 red, 2 colorless, 4/3. Tap. Add a green for each creature of power 4 or greater you control. So at least 1 mana. And then you pay 8. He deals damage equal to its power to target player or planeswalker. Huh. Not bad for an uncommon. Not bad at all.
And it's another one of those signposts again. Add green for each creature of power 4 or greater you control. That's a thing.
Yeah. Not bad. It wasn't as good as I was thinking it was going to be. I saw the number 4 in there, and I was just like, well, what? Does it deal 4 damage?
What are you going to do?
It's like, what's going on here? Wow. Wow.
I'm just reading Warden of the Woods. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw 2 cards.
Wow.
They kind of have to deal with it, but 6 mana for a 5/7?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get play.
Yeah, probably not.
What's this Garruk enchantment? His Uprising.
Garruk's Uprising. 3-drop enchantment. Green. It's got to be good.
Okay.
When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample.
Ding.
Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow. Wow.
That's going to be pretty sweet in Mael and EDH forever.
Wow, man.
You like putting beefy creatures on the battlefield? Have I got the card for you?
Wow. Yeah, that's really good.
I like that it replaces itself immediately if you have a creature.
Yes.
4 power.
Cantrips right away.
All right, so even if they remove it or then later you lose a creature, you got value.
Yeah, that is really cool.
That's cool.
That's like 3 different enchantments mixed into one for 3 mana. It's like Primal Rage. It's the one that draws you a card when a creature 4 or greater comes into play.
Yeah.
And then it's the one that's, draw a card at the beginning of your upkeep if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, something like that. That's 3 enchantments wrapped right into one. That's cool. Whoa, I see a colorful card over here, and it's a 2/2 for 2, and it's a human. Is that the one you're looking at?
Nope.
Are you looking at Grasp of Darkness?
I am.
Oh, man.
Happy to see this coming back into standard. One of my favorite removal spells of all time. Deals with all sorts of nastiness and indestructible and that sort of thing. I'm a big fan. I was also looking at this. Nets out at 2 mana.
What?
Effect here.
Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. Gains haste until end of turn. Add 2 mana of any one color. What? Wow. Wow. So it's basically it's a
act of treason, but
yeah, it's an act of treason for 1 less. Technically, it's for 1 more, but it's for 1 less. And usually with act of treason, you're playing that late game anyway. Like when your opponent has outdone you, and you're like, well, damn it, I got to get this extra damage in there. And wow, that's really cool. That's going to get played for sure, I would bet. That's going to be definitely a sideboard card.
Kind of bummed about this, kind of happy about this.
Yep.
And this card is also nasty. So let's talk about these 3. Reprint on this row. Mountain. You've seen it before. Heroic Intervention. You've seen it before. This card actually got quite pricey for a minute because of Pioneer play. And it is also an EDH staple. This is now also going to be available in a full art.
Ooh.
Or borderless, whatever.
A lot of
version.
A lot of dual commander decks would run this card too. When they had the Bogle style attack. For example, I'm fucking choking on something over here.
50 minutes.
So cats would use this deck, and decks like that were just trying to get a big creature into play or protect something. Like that's so cool.
Fabled Passage. Man, those bastards. I mean, obviously it is their modern interpretation of a fetch land. It is the only fetch land that they want to put in Pioneer right now. Mm-hmm. But they printed it, last year. They reprinted it in a Challenger deck. Now they're reprinting it back into Standard. I guess they are so traumatized by the cries for fetch land reprints that they're like, okay, buddy, we're just going to print this one into the ground.
Wow. That's too bad. This card has so much value and potential, but not if they keep reprinting it.
Well, it certainly has a lot of value to players, and it's not like I bought 1 million of them. I didn't risk my retirement plan on Fabled Passage, but I definitely, I advocated for this card strongly in prior episodes, and I still believe it has all that value. Hopefully you've been using it in quarantine to sleep at night. I don't know. But Fabled Passage reprint is probably good for people in general. Not great for the value of that card.
So first of all, before we move on to that, can I just say the art on these lands is sick.
You looking at the mountain?
Yeah. Like the basic lands is this what every basic land is going to look like?
I don't know.
That would be so good. Wizards, I'll buy the shit out of this set right now if all of them look like that.
I'm trying to find where another one was previewed, because I know that they have previewed more of these basic lands.
Oh yeah, for sure they're down there.
Oh, that's other stuff.
Yep.
So we're coming back up. We're gonna find our place in the temples.
Yep. So they're reprinting the temples, the other temples, right? We already have certain temples we have like the new temples in standard right now, and then they're bringing back the old temples: Malady, Epiphany, Mystery, Silence, Triumph. That's sick. And you were pretty fired up about this blue-black card right here.
Yeah. Obsessive Stitcher, 1 blue-black. It is an 0/3. Tap, draw, and discard. 4 mana tap, reanimate.
Wow. They have the entire reanimate mechanic built into one card. Everything you would need.
Yep.
Wow. I've never seen them do that. Usually, if you remember the old school Legacy decks that were Legacy Reanimator, you always had that crucial decision if you were playing against it. Do you counter the looting cards or do you counter the reanimate? You know what I mean? And this is like you gotta get this guy. You gotta take care of him because he does all of it, like all in one. You know, on your opponent's turn, you draw, discard. On your turn, bam, reanimate. Wow, that's good. Something
that I heard pointed out on the Magic Mike's podcast, I think earlier today, maybe. If you look, the Obsessive Stitcher's right hand has been cut off. And the implication is she's sewing her hand that she cut off onto the creature that she's stitching.
You reap what you sow.
SEW. You reap what you sow.
That's really cool. I love the art for that, man. That's deep. The fact that you can do this at the speed of an instant, it does not say that you have to use this at the speed of a sorcery, is pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this will definitely be used in Commander, right? Like, it just reanimates stuff back out of the grave. You know, that's...
So, yeah, you know, pre-release kits, opening, cracking packs. Don't dismiss your Obsessive Stitch. If you get this in foil, put it in a perfect fit.
Keep it for a while.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a really cool card, man.
I'll tell you what, my best picks over the last few years have probably all been uncommons. And this is definitely one that we'll see play.
I think we're seeing that a lot in recent sets. Like, and by recent, I mean within the last few years. It always just seems like there's always one busted uncommon where you're like, yeah, wow, that's really good.
Hey, so before we go any further, we've only got a few minutes left in this episode. What do you think about this set overall so far?
Dude, I'm pumped up because one of the cards we haven't talked about yet is being reprinted from Starter. The last time it was printed was in Starter. And I am so hyped up because this card was like $200-$300 consistently all throughout its modern life here. And we're talking about...
the Spirit Drag? Oh, no.
Grim Tutor, man.
Yeah.
Grim Tutor is getting reprinted. Like, I'm pumped, not just for, like, you know, whatever new mechanics might be out there, but this is like the year of reprints. Just the reprints in this set make it so much worth buying it. Like, Grim Tutor was a $200 card, maybe more. And now it's being printed at Mythic, but it's in this set. It's in Standard. It's in Modern now. I'm just so pumped as to what that's going to bring to all of these formats.
Yeah.
Yugen the Spirit Dragon being reprinted. There's also some really cool other reprints here too.
Well, we'll talk more about more cards.
Yeah. I'm just feeling really pumped about that. Yeah. That's like my favorite part about this is how many
our very first guest on the podcast, Waldemar, was talking about how he cannot wait for the value of Bloodbraid elfing into a Grim Tutor. I thought that was all right.
Wow.
Yeah, so obviously a lot of cards. There would be a whole lot to talk about, but we're going to call it a wrap for today. And maybe why don't we make this a two-parter?
Let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up for today, but we're gonna keep going on this set review sort of thing, and we'll post the second half later on. Thank you very much for listening to the Snapcast podcast on YouTube or on your podcast provider, preferred podcast provider. Say that 3 times fast.
P. Preferred podcast provider.
I'm Brad O'Brien. You can find me on Twitter at ZetaBase.
I'm Mike Cooley. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and that's just at COOOLEY.
Yeah, I guess you could find me on YouTube as well, but I don't know under what name. No, you can find Brad O'Brien on YouTube. They're music videos, not magic videos. You guys are great. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate the likes and subscribes. That really does help. Oh, we actually got our very first iTunes review.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, somebody said we were almost as cool as Wild McCuddle.
I'll take that.
So I will definitely take that. You guys are the best, and we're having fun doing this, so we'll see you next week.
I'm going to go change my shirt so it looks like I showered before the next episode.
Wait, you didn't shower before this episode?
Wait. Cut that!